Well, appreciate y'all coming out.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
Dusty and Brittany, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, how did y'all, we're talking, so what is the house? Mike's told me a little bit about it, and it intrigued me.
So it's a performance training facility for athletes of all ages. So as little as 6 years old, all the way up to guys and girls getting ready to go into college. So it's a pretty neat environment.
So they come and like stay at this place for the summer or what?
We don't have housing, but
Okay.
that's kind of on like our list. Like as it grows and develops, we'd love to have somewhere where guys can come and kind of hide and train and get ready for the season. So we don't have any housing on site, but the reason it's called the house is I actually had a dream, and that's how the name became a thing. We want it to be where these kids come and they feel like they're at home. It's a family. A lot of kids, you know, home is kind of turmoil. So this would be a place where they can be themselves. They can focus on their goals and just be a family and work together. So that was kind of the idea.
Like what was what spawned the idea? It's a real interesting, it's almost like, it kind of reminds me of like the YMCA, but a little more
Right.
like a little tight-knit, more tight-knit community though.
Specialized.
Yeah.
So the backstory to it is I was heavily involved with the football program there in Sweeney, and Coach Odom, he came to us, I don't know, in the off season. He said, "Hey, I got a guy that wants to come down here and potentially coach for the school, and he's a big-time Aggie." And so with my involvement with A&M, I said, "Man, bring him on." Didn't know the guy at all. Had no idea who he was. And we have an apartment behind our house, and it's kind of like a pool house we converted. He said, "Can he stay there 3 days, kind of check out the school, the town?" Like, sure. It was in the wintertime. It was about like this. He showed up, and it was Jaworski Lane. Jaworski Lane, you know, all-time leading touchdown scorer for A&M. I was like, "Holy crap, what's up, man? How are you?" Act like I didn't know the guy, right? But I knew the guy.
All right. You were like tearing up, like, oh
Yeah, I
my
was
God.
like, "Hey, man, what's up?"
Well, I didn't know the guy. I had no clue.
Anyway, we just hit it off, and he really didn't want to coach for the school at the time. Just kind of the way things are evolving with the school and high school football there. He's like, "Man, I don't want to tie my name to this." He said, "But there's a calling here for me to do more." He said, "There's nowhere for kids to train here south of 59 to even be recruited to be seen by bigger colleges. They don't waste their time coming down here south of 59 at all. No recruiters." So me and him, we put our head together. Brittany's like, "Man, there's a piece of property on the outside of the town. What do you think we buy it?" And I was like, "Well, shoot." I was like, "Here goes another idea." So anyway, we ended up making an offer on the land. We buy it. It's got a shop and an apartment on it already. And then we just start brainstorming with Jaworski, and he hasn't left since. He's been training kids there at the high school, training people, you know, just random. But now we have a home for it, and that's really how it all got kicked off.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, there's nothing down here as far as getting kids and like seen. So
Right.
That was my question is, why did you choose this location? But
Yeah, there's just nowhere to do it. And
Yeah.
over the last 5 months, he's done a good job of communicating with other schools as far as when we go play them. Like, he goes to all the games that we play, from basketball to football. He travels with our school a lot. So he'll go and he'll see a kid that's really good, and he sees the potential in him, and we're open with him. "Hey, have you talked to any schools?" And they're like, "We don't even know how to do that." So that really started the whole movement. We've taken 4 to 5 kids to go see colleges that they never could afford to do on, you know, what we provide to it. So just, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, we took a kid to go see the Ole Miss A&M game. He's an 8th grader, 6'3", he weighs 250, wears a 14 shoe. He's never even left his town he lives in. So that's kind of been the movement behind what we're doing with this gym.
okay, so you're starting them when they're young too.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was high school kids, but it sounds like you're getting them in middle school.
Yeah, all ages.
Yeah, so that's what I used to think too, was that seniors and juniors are the only ones that are being looked at. Well, that's not the case. This thing starts in junior high, really. The recruiting process is so big now that if you're not in front of these guys, in front of the 7-on-7 teams that travel all over the world or Texas, I mean, you're really behind the 8 ball. You have kids coming out of college now going into college that graduate in December. So that gives them a whole 6 months in a college program, say at A&M or UT, before another kid graduates in May. So that's how fast everything's sped up in the recruiting world.
It's kind of turning into like hockey in Canada. It's like
Right.
you got to get in, you got to have your kids right in the right time frame to get them training as early as possible. How established are you now with the house? Are you, like where are you at on it?
So we had several weather delays. So we have an indoor facility, and then we also have a 50-yard football field outside. And as soon as we dug the hole, it rained for like a month and a half. Of
course.
So we got real far behind on the project. And actually the fencing is being finished this week and beginning of next week. And I actually, on the way here, was on the phone with the equipment guy and getting that install ready. And so within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be fully functional with all our equipment. Our football field will be done. Our fencing and everything will be done, and our doors will be open. So
that's exciting. So
yeah.
How are y'all getting the experts to come and help coach? Like, are y'all all doing the coaching and strength training and the conditioning, all that stuff, or who's helping?
So it's been Jaworski running the.
Okay.
He's basically our head coach.
I don't know if he's qualified for that.
Yeah, man.
He knows a few people.
But Sweeney is loaded with so much talent as far as coaching staff. It'd blow your mind. I mean, if you follow any football, it blew my mind because me and my wife, we were the parents that we went to work, we took our kids to school, we come home, we took them to practice. We wasn't really involved until we took over the booster club down there of what talent we had down there that's just not being used. So, I mean, you have a guy down there by the name of MJ White. He played for the Panthers. He lives in Sweeney. We have another guy down there, Tracy Simeon. He coaches in Bambalek, but lives in Sweeney. He played in the Super Bowl. So you have, and now you have Jaworski Lane there. Her brother, Tank Carter, is probably one of the best linebackers to come out of TCU ever.
Do you know Ryan Casano?
Yes.
That's my best friend. Well, hold on, wait.
Okay,
Mike,
be careful here.
I remember him.
Mike is my best friend.
Okay.
But Ryan's also a really good
It's
friend.
going to get back to Ryan. Let's get back to Ryan. If Ryan was here, it would be a little different.
It would be tough.
What a small world.
That's a crazy small world.
Yeah, that's small.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So, cool connection.
We have all these really good athletes there that played in the professional sport environment. And we even have a baseball guy, too. Zach Shannon, he played for the Diamondbacks. He's going to be helping with our baseball program. But it really got put all together by Jaworski. I mean, he knew all these people. And then him just being in town, all the people gravitated to him. Like, man, what are you doing here? So all these coaches that wanted to do it but didn't know how to do it, I'd say, now they have an outlet to help. So we're going to pull all those guys together, start helping these kids get to where they can go.
And I mean, our expertise really is like we've built businesses and we know how to run offices and we know how to manage that part of it. I mean, my brother was an athlete. I was an athlete. He rodeoed, which still is an athletic event.
Yeah.
And, so we really focused on like, we know what we're good at and we know what you're good at. Like you're the head coach. You know how to handle the athletes. You know how to train them. You've done it. That's your part. And so, we've learned so much from him over the last, 6 months. But we really try to stay where our expertise is, everybody have their role and be strong in their roles. So we're not doing any coaching.
No.
He's going to be doing all the coaching. He'll be over all the other coaches that coach in different 7-on-7 teams or, whoever's there, he's in charge of that. But we just do the paperwork, the money, keeping it running.
Getting the right people involved. That's a big,
Yes.
that's a big part of it.
Yeah, huge.
I have a real, if you build it, they will come story. Do you see coaches from all of the local schools going there? Do you think they're going to send their people over there, or you think y'all are going to collaborate with them where they come and help coach within the facility in the off season?
So for UIL rules, you cannot coach your kid that goes to your school in off season. So it's going to really be a collective group of coaches, right? So say if Jaworski took a coaching job with Sweeney, he cannot train any Sweeney kids in the off season because UIL says you only have 2 hours a day with them in the summer, 2 to 3 hours a day, something like that. but they cannot be taught by you outside of those hours. So it's kind of a.
How does 7-on-7 work then? Because 7-on-7's on the off season, right?
Yeah, so it's coached by outside people. So if you'll see your high school coaches, they're the actual head football coach.
Yeah.
It doesn't coach 7-on-7. He either brings in a dad or someone else that's like under his.
What a dumb rule, right?
Do you know what the rules for?
Man, I
Like
don't.
is there a conflict of interest
It's
type
supposed
thing?
to where like you don't overwork your athletes.
Pretty
so
much.
we have the same rule. Our daughters do competitive cheer, and they have the same rule. They can only practice so many hours in a week, and so the kids are all evenly matched as far as how much practice they're getting, and to not overwork your athletes. I think is the goal with that. But that's kind of where like I'll come in as far as scheduling. When this gets 100% capacity and fully running, we will organize the classes to where the coach isn't in conflict with with the kids. So there will be some logistics behind it to make sure that part's handled. So
Definitely y'all's administrative expertise there working at play. I was so I imagine you're gonna have more people than 7-on-7. I think you're gonna have enough for like several teams. So how would that work? Would you get other like dads or coaches to coach like multiple teams out the facility for 7-on-7?
yeah, Jaworski's already got several friends he played with, coaches that are just ready and waiting. So hopefully, if we don't have any other weather delays and anything, we'll be having our 7-on-7 tryouts around Christmas break. So
how many kids do you think you can accept into the facility? Like, are y'all limited, or I can't see how big this place is, but do y'all have a number?
So I don't know if we've ever done like a full capacity number.
Our soft opening number was 15 per age group, and she's got the age groups broke down, but it was basically we're going to be able to have about 50 kids on site at one time. So that's really where our numbers go. And then when we get full tilt on running operation, we'll have 3 to 4 hours every day that you could have 50 kids in there. So up to 200 kids at any given day there that come through the door.
On, kind of what Mike was saying earlier, kids are getting involved in sports much earlier. And it's almost, if they're not involved in the T-ball age or, that age, then damn when they get in high school because they're so far behind.
Right.
Is there any concern with overworking them, like kids getting to high school, being involved in UIL sports or, youth events all through their younger years and then being burnt out by the time they get to high school?
Yeah, I think burnouts with everything you do. I mean,
yeah.
And Jaworski has some really great ideas to balance that. So we'll do camps and clinics and stuff like that, but there's a nonprofit side of the house, which is the Lane of Hope. And that's going to be where it provides educational support and things like that for the kids too. So there's a path for this that's bigger than just training kids. It's also developing them as human beings, guiding them through junior high and high school, keeping their grades on track, showing them what it takes to go to the next level, also showing them what it takes just to be a good human being. So we're really excited about the Lane of Hope side too. So there's more to it than the training.
What is that, and what does that actually look like? Is that like, are you getting those skills out on the field, or are you going to have like an office setting where they come in and do a little education? How does that come through?
It'll be both. I mean, there will be, teaching moments that can happen within a training time frame, but then we will also have like time blocks where kids come in and they do SAT prep and, stuff like that. We'll have volunteer teachers that come in and work with the kids and prepare them, with their education, tutoring. A big part of everything too is grades. Like these kids are going to be bringing the report cards in, and Jaworski will be able to tell them, okay, like you're doing great the athlete side, but if you don't have the grades, then you can't do anything. And so it'll really teach the kids how to balance that, because Jaworski's talked about it. My brother's talked about it before too. It's like when you go to play ball, you just go to play ball, but you don't realize everything else that comes into it. And if you're not on top of that part, then you can't play ball. So the kids don't know what to expect. And we have a lot of talent in our area, like way more than people would even realize. And that was a big thing for me, is when we kind of brainstormed this and it kind of developed. It's like kids in Brazoria County, or even in any small area, you just come here and you stay here and you like work where your dad worked, and you never see that the world is so much bigger. And that's kind of what I'm passionate about with this. Is allowing these kids to see that the world's bigger than Brazoria County, the world's bigger than Texas, there's so much for you and so much to see and so much growth that can happen, and you not just born here, live here, and stay here kind of thing.
Work at the plants just like
Yes,
your parents do.
yes,
That's really
yeah.
special. That's
Yeah.
to me that's exciting. Like
Yeah.
really showing the kids the other side. Mike and I were just talking about stuff like that. Like parents that only see like the athletic side of things and not like the soft skills that
Yep.
you may not be getting at home. Because imagine some of these kids are in underprivileged situations. So do y'all provide any way or a means for the underprivileged folks that who maybe can afford to?
That'll be where
join?
Lena Hope comes in.
Okay.
So there'll be scholarship programs, and Lena Hope will sponsor a certain amount of kids. We don't have that number set yet. We just kind of have to see how it develops. We've had a lot of interest with Lena Hope, especially with Jaworski being an Aggie. The Aggie network is strong. So
Yeah, it's a cult, man.
yeah,
It is.
yeah. So we have a lot of people that are just waiting for Lena Hope to be finalized, which we got paperwork this week. So we are within weeks of that being done. And then we'll be able to start taking donations to where then we can start those scholarships and sponsor kids and like the recruiting trips for kids to go see colleges. That's Lena Hope will be the side that covers expenses for the kids to be able to go who aren't able to pay for, their transportation, their food, or how to get there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you see this thing getting so big that you have to almost qualify to get in because you're just at capacity all the time?
Yeah.
Especially if people are coming from Houston and even out of, could they, is that even
You're
a time
gonna-
frame when you go out of state?
You're gonna need like 2 locations, I see, or multiple locations.
Well, when we got the location, we were like, this is cool. This is going to be perfect. And then as it's kind of developed and, we got our Facebook going and everything where people can kind of see what's going on and see our development as we're going. And everybody's like, well, put me on the list. And so we have this like running list of people that when we do our first camp or when we do a soft opening, we were just going to do, we're cap it off. The people that have been interested, let them come in and then open it up to a few more public spots if we have room. And it's like the list keeps growing and growing. And then we're like, okay, maybe this place isn't as big as we thought it was.
You never know until you get that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
But I bet you that feels good.
Yeah.
Getting that feedback, it tells you that you're kind of going the right path. I can see kids being like, oh man, everybody is successful coming out of the house and I want to be able to go there when I'm of age or whatever. So
Yep.
like I said, is the timeline to where people from out of state could go over there like out of school? Is it outside of school?
Like the summer,
Yeah.
summer's lineup? I think so.
So
Close
yeah,
to it.
we do have 2 or 3 kids that's already reached out from out of state to come train during the summers, and we've already lined up some houses and stuff for them. So I absolutely feel like that's going to happen this summer. I know there's a kid from Alabama that's already called, a kid from Georgia that's already called. They're wanting to train here during the summer because it's remote. Like these kids, you got to think they're all living in communities that high volume of people, cop cars running at night. I mean, Sweeney's, if you haven't been there, it's a little one red light. That's
nothing.
it. There's nothing. And that was the deal that really drove Jaworski to want to stay. It was like, there's nothing else to do here but get better. Like, because there literally is nothing to do. So
That's special. It reminds me of almost like this. I've been learning a lot about the homeschool community and the advantages of kids going to being homeschooled versus public school, and that the Lane of Hope kind of reminds me of that. The tight knit community, the possibility that you have there to really make a difference in these kids' lives, not just from a physical and a recreational perspective, but like an emotional and academic perspective
Right.
as well.
Absolutely.
Besides just A&M, do you are y'all going to reach out to other colleges to where you can have an easy stream or conduit to these colleges once the kids are out of high school?
Yeah. Jaworski actually, guys that he's played with or coaches that have coached him are all in different places now. And, he talks to Oklahoma, all over. Florida. There was a couple kids that graduated from Sweeney last year and they were good athletes. They were our top guys. Our son played with them last year and they had nothing. And, in just a couple months, Jaworski was able to get them somewhere to play. And that was really cool to see. And that was kind of the first eye opener for us as we were like, okay, like this is real. This can happen. Cause I don't have a lot. My brother, was recruited, but it was kind of by accident and, So we were able to see that he had that reach and that he knew a lot of people and that he's able to get connected. So it's not just A&M, it's everywhere because of the people that he's met along his journey. His journey's pretty cool too.
Yeah,
That's
was. He was able to get a kid to Mary Hardin Baylor. He was a senior, didn't have any. I mean, kid's super talented. You're going to be reading about him. I got a feeling he's going to transfer out with the transfer portal being the way it is. He's probably going to go somewhere else after he's got a year under his belt. But super talented, got to Mary Hardin Baylor, and it wasn't even on his radar. He really talked to me. He's like, hey, because he worked for me in the summers. This kid did, and he's like, man, I might just stay here and work for you and go to Brazosport. And I was like, oh, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, we were like that's not an option. You're not allowed.
Like,
We don't want you.
No.
You can come back, but don't not leave. Like, that's been my biggest pet peeve for kids is, like, get out and see what's there. And, man, he was able to get him Mary Hardin Baylor and then another kid on the blend. I mean, just all within – he didn't even get to see these kids play football last summer. That's how crazy that was, or last year. Okay. He just seen them working out with 7-on-7. They were seniors, and our juniors were doing 7-on-7 this summer. They came out to the practice field, and he's like, you are too good. Y'all should be playing somewhere else. So he was able to do it.
Yeah, his mind was blown because he sees these kids and he's like, who are they talking to? And we're like, I don't think anybody. And they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, there's no way that's okay. So he's really passionate about the kids getting out too, because he has kind of a similar story. You know, he's from Lufkin and y'all would have to talk to him. He can tell you about it. But, you know, he had people that mentored him or saw something in him and held him accountable to it. And that's kind of what we want to do with Lane of Hope in the house is see these kids, see the potential they have, and then hold them to that. You know, what are your goals? Okay, well, let's help you meet those goals and keep you on the right path to do it. So
that'd be real cool to do like a summer camp, but kind of different, you know, like summer camp football or whatever, but like they stay on site and like do like campfires and all this stuff where you can build those life skills, soft skills, and they can, you know, build community and things like that. It could be, it sounds really, really cool. I think y'all kind of said that adults are going to be able to go here too, or like people that are already out of high school. Is that kind of a focus as well?
Yeah, he's had some guys reach out that want to train in the off season to get ready for, you know, combine and all of that. And that was kind of something that Jaworski talked about because it's a different dynamic down here. Like you're in the middle of nowhere and people aren't going to be able to find you, you know, and like Jaworski talked about is when you're training for that, like you need no distractions, you need to be focused. And so this area, there, like he said, there's nothing to do but train. So those guys that are in that mindset and need to be in that area, we kind of have worked it out. We have a little connection that would have some housing for them. And they can come and they can stay and work out and be kind of in that secluded environment to focus on their crafts. So that's the goal.
That's really cool. UFC fighters typically do that too. They'll go to the camps where it's just out of the way, like no distractions. That's a cool way to look at it. And you know, y'all are going to populate Sweeney now. You know that like people are going to go move to go next there and you're going to build businesses up, which is a good thing. Right. I've always thought of like making a business to where you can bring people together and bring prosperity and all that. That's if you can do something like that, I think that's like so rewarding.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
What are some of the other sports that are going to be concentrated on? Is it all sports?
It's going to be all sports.
Girls and boys, all sports. So Jaworski has explained it really well, but no matter what sport you play, if you're not in shape and you're not strong and you're not fast, you're not going to be great. And so you have to get to the core of what needs to be done to be successful in whatever sport you have. And so that's really the goal. We'll have a baseball guy where it's baseball specific, hitting lessons, pitching lessons, all of that. And we'll have some specialty coaches that'll come in and do that stuff. But the core of the house is to get these kids strong in their fundamentals and, you know, physically.
Yeah, bigger, faster, stronger.
Yep.
Do y'all plan on doing nutritional guidance?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So Jaworski has a friend that he's dealt with that's helped him along, you know, through when he was in college and stuff like that. And they've already talked about putting together like meal prep guides and stuff like that. And, you know, that's very infant stages of that conversation. So, I mean, it could be a big deal. I mean, we could have a nutritionist that, is part of Lane of Hope or even part of the house and is putting together meal planning for these kids. I mean, we might even one day partner with somebody that wants to actually put the meals together and the kids take their meals home with them. I mean, it could really grow and be, something great for that side of it.
Absolutely.
What do y'all think about, I don't know if y'all would hold this in the house, but like physical training and stuff, like where if someone tweaks something, like being able to read your body and know when it's time to rest and things like that. That's
one of our, on our website, it's like their health is number one. And that's something we want the kids to know and the parents to know is the health and safety of the kid is first and foremost. We don't play injured. We don't push through. There's a point where you push through, but you don't play injured and then ruin yourself altogether because you just were trying to push through a game. And that's education wise, like parents need to know that and kids need to understand that. And we talked about having like parent meetings where we explain this stuff to the parents, where we explain the recruiting process. We explain the importance of this health side of things, nutrition and stuff like that. And so that's stuff that we've discussed with Jaworski too.
I ain't thought about it all.
It's like limitless, man.
Yeah. I mean, we have this building and this, what is it? An acre. And we have this acre
like 2 acres.
in this building and as our thoughts come out and as we all talk about it, we're like, I think it might be real soon. We're going to need more.
Yeah. It'd be cool to do like a tier progression too, where like you get qualified through the house. And then when you're done, you're like, hey, you made it through the house or train to be a trainer, you know, like you could do so much stuff. I'm excited for you guys.
What are some challenges that y'all are like having to mark down and work through? Is there any glaring? It seems like everyone's like coming on board and helping, like everything's falling into place, but is there anything that's kind of
really the challenge has been just timeline getting open. We wanted to be open before school went back into session, but here we were 6 months in a drought, didn't rain a day. I mean, and the property we bought, it had the whole front part of it was gravel. I mean, and with our other business, I told Brittanie, I said, well, I'll go up there and rip all that rock out and start planting grass. So I sent a guy down there to go do it, and we take off 2 layers of passes of rock with our skid steers, and it was like, this rock is nowhere end in sight.
It's like 2 feet of rock.
It was over 2 foot of rock. I stopped digging.
And Sweeney, that's funny too.
Yeah, so we brought in a big track hoe and a couple dozers, and we started digging it out so we could plant our grass, put some topsoil in and plant our grass. Then here comes all this damn rain, man. It didn't stop for 2-3 weeks. And then now we had this big hole. We had to pump all this water out. So that's really been our only dilemma at all. It's just timeline getting open because I feel like people are ready to go.
Yeah. We have people messaging like all the time, and we're like, we hear you. Yeah. We're trying. Just tell the rain to stop.
So the community reception is real excited about it.
Oh, yeah. It's every day. It's like we get somebody, when you're open, and we're obviously not putting them off. It's just been weather, or just constant weather.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get those the people, if something big like this is going to a small community, some of the old timers might feel a little apprehensive about it.
Well, the good thing is it's on the outside of town, so we didn't have to mess with the city too much.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
What do y'all think about social media? A big way of these kids getting exposures like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, like all this stuff within training, like when you're doing drills and stuff, seeing someone burn by someone, like all the, cool things. Do y'all plan on setting up like a designated social media person to kind of get that stuff out there as well?
So we already have one. We use Breakthrough Consulting, and we're already working with them, and they've been absolutely amazing. The service with them is just great. I mean, if you're trying to put yourself out there on that type of platform, they're the ones. I mean, we just send them videos and stuff, and they put it together and make it beautiful.
Oh, nice. So y'all do the video stuff and send it to them?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And we're going to do more. I mean, Jaworski's been training up at the high school or wherever till, since the facility's not fully up and running yet. And so it's kind of, right now it's all over the place, but it'll be exciting because inside the gym, we're going to have the big logo on the wall and everything's branded in our colors and everything. And so our goal is that social media really, every day you'll be seeing something or techniques, showing techniques and showing kids and highlighting kids. So I think it'll be a really great way to get the word out there. I mean, everybody's on social media, so that's where they look.
I know.
I got to learn to use Twitter, I guess, before all this starts.
Yeah.
You got to respond to some of this stuff.
Now it's like TikTok. Now's the big one, TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a little bit of baby blue in y'all's in y'all's logo?
It's all maroon.
Oh, is it? They're gonna think y'all going the West Columbia route.
Yeah. Maroon, white, and black. There's no
Yeah.
blue at all in our colors.
gray, maroon, black, and white is all the gems.
And that was a little intentional too, and that's probably going to rub some people from swinging the wrong way. But we didn't want it to be, man, this program is just to help benefit Sweeney's program. So we wanted it totally separated from what we do there at the school.
I like that.
That was very intentional.
It's not just for Sweeney kids. No. And I think at first people were like,
I think so
thinking
too.
it was that. And so we've tried to do everything to kind of turn that narrative is like, no, this isn't just to help Sweeney. This is all kids in the all area. Yeah. There's athletes all over the place down here. So, I mean, we drive an hour to take our girls to cheer. So, So, I mean, people do it. We do it. And I know others that'll do it. So, hopefully that's the case.
Y'all are going to get one of those series. You know that cheer series on Netflix? You're going to get so much success coming out of here. They're like, they want to shoot a couple seasons over there.
Yeah, we could have a series on our life in general, as crazy it is. I mean, all that we do. Any day a person can follow us around with the camera and be like, man, you are some crazy son of a guns.
What did you go to school for A&M at?
I actually went for agriculture business, but didn't even use my degree at all. Yeah. You know how that is.
Why didn't you, or what prompted you to go that way?
The agriculture business way?
I guess it's A&M in general, but.
Well, so I went to A&M Kingsville, but know so many people that with the Aggie Network, that's just been encompassing to, I mean, I do business with them all the time, so just pretty much go back and forth with campuses type stuff and go visit that one or go to Kingsville. But the reason I chose ag business is because I was too lazy to finish veterinary medicine. That's really what I went to school for. And it just was, my academic advisor said, hey, you want to do agriculture business? I was like, yeah, it sounds a little easier. So that's what I did.
Yeah, that sounds like, another opportunity of Lane of Hope being able to guide the students to something that's meaningful for them. I feel like in today's world, everyone's going to school to be an engineer.
Yeah.
There's a dime a dozen engineers now, but other fields are lacking now in those professions. And sometimes kids don't know. They're not always going to know what they want to go to school for. And sometimes they just need guidance. Yep. That way they don't.
Yeah, man, school's great. I mean, I probably wouldn't have been able to fast track my career like I did without school. Me and her talk about that all the time, but you don't have to have an education no more to go make $200,000 a year.
No.
I mean, you just don't. If you're a hard worker, you've got somewhat of business knowledge to you. If you've got that work ethic, you can do it. I mean, there's 24 hours in a day. If you're willing to stay up for 17 of them, 18 of them working, you can go make the money.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we built what we have now, was just putting more work than the next guy.
Yeah. No, that's special, that work ethic like that.
Yeah.
Man.
Motivated him a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we're working on something right now.
That's good.
Yeah, actually. So what does the house look like 5 years from now? Like, I know we've talked a lot, but do you see it reaching even further than what we've discussed? What are y'all's plans?
Our short-term plans is just we want to get some kids that did not have a chance to leave here or anywhere, get them an education if that's what they want. It's never been our goal to get kids to play professionally. I mean, if you can ask all three of us, if Jaworski was sitting here, it's to get a kid education if that's what he wants.
Get your school paid for.
Get your school paid for. Yeah. And then build upon that. Because he'll tell you, the professional athlete world, it will eat you alive. I can't attest to it because I didn't live it, but I know a lot of people that have. And it really is just a big machine that spits these people out. And it doesn't take care of them after it's over. They're kind of lost thinking about it. I mean, I give you an example, not to spiderweb the conversation, but we were driving to College Station when we first kicked this off. We were going to go meet Jimbo Fisher. That's what we was going to go do, kind of give him our plan. Yeah. He opened the doors up. We were able to walk right in there, talk to him. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to start training kids. Can this fast track something for your program? We just selling it. Anyway, I was asking Jaworski, I said, hey, do you have any money left in your 401k to start building this place? He's like, yeah, man, I almost got like $800,000, $900,000 in my 401k. I was like, well, you can draw on that. Like, we could pull off that and do a loan. We were just business thinking. He's like, dude, I can't touch that money till I'm 45 years old. I was like, what? He's like, no, the NFL has it tied up. We can't touch it. Like, none of us can touch it. I was like, man, I think you got that wrong. So I called my brother-in-law. I was like, hey, do you have 401k with the NFL? He's like, yeah. I was like, when can you get it out? He's like, 45. I was like, what? So you got, it's just a machine, man. So that's where it really.
They can't invest it either.
They can't
the
do
NFL
nothing
owns
with
that
it.
money, so
It's
they can't
just,
do anything
they
with
can't
it.
change anything about it. So these pro sports, it just pulls these guys in, spits them out. They make a ton of money off of them. So it's never our goal to get them to the pro level. It's our goal to get their school paid for because that's something they can keep forever.
Yeah. The training is, in the grand scheme of all of it, the training is kind of secondary. I mean, if you look at it a certain way, it's kind of secondary because we really want these kids to be good humans, go out into society and be successful, get their education. Nobody can ever take that away from you. The sports only last so long, but the education and what you learn and the life skills, that lasts you a lifetime. So that's more important.
And then now with the NIL deal that came out in the transfer portal, you can make just as much money in college that you can going it. I mean, if you're going to be a first-round draft pick and skip going to the NFL, well, you can't really do that. You got to play college. But baseball, for example, Jaworski has a son that's number 3, number 4 baseball player in the nation coming out, I think, 2026 class. He's a freshman this year. Yeah. I mean, he's the hottest thing coming out of baseball. So, I mean, that kid has the potential to get first-round draft money to go play for A&M. So that just changes the whole dynamic of it, where you really got to start teaching these kids how to manage their money, get the education, because without that, they're not going to.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the classic Boobie Miles and what was that movie? The Friday Night Lights. You know, he had his whole life planned to go into the NFL, and then he got injured. And then that happens all the time with kids. Yep. And once they get injured, they can't do anything. Yep. Because they didn't spend any time in
But if they get injured, their college has to honor their education.
That's right.
That's pretty good.
They can't take their scholarship away from them.
That's special.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What kind of offers are the college? I'm kind of new to this. What kind of offers are the colleges giving to the kids for going there now? Now that it's a new thing.
For NIL deals?
Yeah.
I mean, you can look up the receiver for A&M that broke his leg. I mean, he got the comeback this year. He was reported to get over $1 million something bucks.
So it's not NFL money, but it's good money.
Yeah, you're looking at. You got a kid in Alabama that didn't even play his senior year. He got over $2-3 million just to play for Tennessee. He's a guy playing now.
I imagine that they're going to get that money and not want to finish school.
Yeah,
I imagine that. Like, I'm sure they're forecasting that.
Yeah, but if they're not,
I don't know how much y'all kept up with it, but it's at the congressional level for them to pay high school athletes. I don't know if y'all.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's something that's out there that's been tossed around. Or these big time high school football players, baseball players, golf. I mean, anything like that. Where it's been tossed around to pay high school athletes, basically like an NIL deal.
Well, like Westlake, like the school of Westlake, that town is built around the high school football team, and the high school, they make a lot of money off the kids. So it only makes sense. That's the whole reason the college it was enacted at the collegiate level. Yeah,
the NIL deals is kind of, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've been studying on it as we do more with kids. I mean, you have ex NBA players. Look at J.R. Harden. Played for the Cavs, right? He got $10-15 million deal to go play college golf because he skipped college. He went straight to the NBA. So it's like, it's really limited. I don't know how much money you can make now with NIL.
Those kids are at the college level. They're doing commercials now for like, I think I've seen a couple in Austin do stuff for like locals. Car dealerships and stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think the quarterback for Texas did like a Wrangler commercial.
Yeah, because they got money now, and then they're kind of celebrities now a little bit, in college.
So Texas Tech, I may have the numbers wrong, but I know Tech gave every student athlete that made the roster, be it volleyball, baseball, football, they all got $85,000 across the board. I'm almost positive. It's 85 or 58, but they all got just a check with their scholarship.
Yeah.
That tells you how much money they're making off people.
Yeah,
like when they're just slinging the 85 around.
Well, think about how much we pay for school, for a class of school, a class.
But some of that's in the
$1,500,
But isn't a lot of that's in the ticket sales and promotion of the games, or no?
Well, the NIL money really isn't from the school; it's from sponsorships,
alumni.
Right.
Alumni. That's what it's from.
But the jerseys that the school, that they make that money, like in all the, the sporting stores, all the apparel, I guess, in general. They make all that money, man.
When robots take over the world and do all our work, we're gonna have to get paid for something.
Yeah, no doubt.
Be playing Pee Wee football, get paid a couple mil.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, have a free electric.
It's kind of endless. It's wild when you think about it. It's like, and like for me, I don't know a whole lot about football. I just know what I see, but it's like my brother always said he loved playing college football because everybody was there playing because they loved football.
Because they wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, and he said the NFL is different because people are there. It's a business. And he said, so he loved college football, and he's like, this is going to change things. Like this is.
No, it's already changed it.
Yeah, it's already changed it. But, this is going to make football different. It's, when you're playing for money, I guess it's totally
you look
different
at
thing.
You look at Ole Miss's running back. I don't know if y'all watch any college football, but Ole Miss's running back. I mean, he's a stud. He was supposed to be at TCU, and he's at Ole Miss because he got paid.
Yeah.
I mean, he killed A&M 3 or 4 weeks ago. I mean, he's a great running back, but it's all about getting paid. It's basically they have 1 year free agency. If you think about it, a college football, baseball player, you get to get in that transfer portal one time, and they get to use it to go make as much money as they can go make now if they're great. So actually, you can get in the transfer portal twice. You can get in it once in undergrad school. But if you go into the second time, you have to graduate, and you're going to go to another college for like your master's. So you can do it twice.
I got a tough question. I just thought about it. So with all this word of, CTE and all this coming out, and parents hesitant to put their kids in football because of all the new information and studies coming out, does that scare y'all a little bit about this company y'all are starting?
Yeah, but I think that's why we focused on just a full-rounded athlete, just not football. And then that's also the second reason.
You're right, yeah.
The second reason why we focused on college. Get to the college level in whatever sports you're playing. I mean, I can name you a ton of stories on CTE with football guys. I mean, it's pretty bad deal. I mean, I would say the years of them not protecting for it or not studying it or not, sitting guys out when they had a concussion, right? You can see that in the athletes that I've been able to meet that I know has had a lot of concussions, man. They're struggling. I mean,
it doesn't even take a concussion, right? You can still get CTE from minor stuff, like minor head bumps.
Falling, yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I think that, I think that that's why the way we want to do things is unique, because you have these kids that start at, say, the Pee Wee level, and you've got dads that are volunteers, and they're there for their son. They're there because nobody else would be there, and it's just go hit somebody. You're not teaching proper technique. You're not being safe with how you're teaching these kids how to play their sports. You're pushing kids past their limits because you don't know what to look for. That's something we want to do with our coaches too, is there's like an education side of this for its safe sport, teaching these coaches how to identify kids that are injured or, something's off, making sure you're taking care of their health, number one. And so I think the house kind of changes things, because we're going to have flag football, and, you're going to have 7-on-7 with the younger age groups too. And you kind of change that narrative where these kids are getting proper training from a very young age. And I think, and personally, I feel like that would set them up for more success as they go through sports, and hopefully lessen injuries, know when to identify them. And so these kids would have hopefully less exposure to these unnecessary injuries because they're not being coached properly. And then when I say coach properly, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's like when we know we've volunteered, we've coached things we have know nothing about before because nobody else would show up to do it, and you do the best you can. And I think having a little bit more expertise in training these kids from such a young age can hopefully prevent that. That would be the goal.
Yeah. I mean, football is like a small part of what, y'all are more of like a training facility for multiple sports. Right. And so you aren't really contributing too much to that. And a lot of the kids' football is turning into flag football. Yeah. I know my sister's kids are playing flag football, but
That was kind of my brother. He was like, there's no reason for him to play tackle football before junior high. He'll be fine.
Still developing.
Yeah. When our son was coming up and all his friends were playing, he was like, I want to play. And I'm like, I trust your Uncle Tank. We're not, you're not going to do it. And he went,
The evolution of athletes, even like looking at NFL film from like the early 90s, like with, Emmitt Smith or Michael Irvin and what they could do versus what the athletes can do now in the NFL is insane. Like the human body, how it's like developed in the last 15, 20 years of the stuff that they can do.
Yeah, it's definitely evolutionized.
Yeah, it's like a different person. It's almost like a different animal. Like you see Emmitt Smith running versus some of the running backs today,
So when we took the kid up there to, he's an 8th grader, right? He's not supposed to be going on recruiting trips, but we just wanted him to see the school. And we were on the sidelines getting to show him, how they warmed up, how fast they are, how big they are, how strong they are. And this kid walked up behind us. He was from San Antonio. He's already committed to go there. But he was 6'8", 325. Just a
giant.
It's like, where do you make these people this big? It's just, and you're right. They just keep getting bigger, faster, stronger. But it's all about, that's everything in life, right? Everything's evolutionized to get better and better and better and better. We're sitting here talking about training kids in 4th, 5th grade.
They're starting now, yeah.
Yeah, so it's to get ahead of the curve, because if you don't, everybody's going to leave you behind.
Yeah.
This is real special. I'm inspired by what y'all are doing. How can people get involved with y'all and help out? Is there community events I know we aren't open yet, but y'all
coming.
Yes.
Yeah,
coming.
Yeah,
we're going to be doing, Lena Hope will be doing fundraisers throughout the year to raise money to support these kids and their scholarships and their travel expenses and everything like that. So there's going to be lots of opportunities. Soon, the Lena Hope will be on Facebook, so you'll be able to find it there soon. The house has a website already, trainatthehouse.com. So that'll be developing as everything starts getting going. So there'll be a lot on there. There'll be Lena Hope mentioned on there too, because the Lena Hope is going to support the house so much. So that would, right now, that our trainatthehouse.com and then the house Facebook is all we have currently. But there's more coming. I'm excited. We have a lot of really great ideas.
Yeah, we got
it sounds like it.
We got a lot of ideas to, help raise money and stuff like that to really push what we're trying to do with taking kids.
We don't want to turn a kid away.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's hard for me, is I'm like, there's going to be somebody and we're not going to, you know what I mean? So I'm like, we have to make sure we can, if anybody wants it, they can do it. And like, that's my goal, like personally, is I'm a softie for it. And I don't want any kid to be able to like, oh, we can't afford it, so I can't do it. Like, no, we're going to find a way, So we have some good ideas. We have a lot of people that are like just kind of waiting and ready to donate and sponsor a kid. And we want to do, something like that where a donor can sponsor a kid through their career and they get updates of what's going on with that kid and stuff like that. So we have some really great ideas to make sure that nobody gets left out.
You make me tear up, like a kid playing golf or something. Like a kid may have good potential, but to play golf, you have to have money to play golf.
Yeah, and really, that's, to go back on it, that's how this all started, was that we were able to do very well for ourselves. And I'd always seen, so I was able to take my son to camps, right? You go watch him at a camp and you're like, and then you go back to school and you're like, well, there's 4 or 5 kids that I know that are better than him. That
we love him.
We love him very much.
Yes, we made it. We love him.
There's 4 or 5 kids that are better than him that don't even have cleats. I mean, when we were in school, they provided us with cleats.
Right.
And then the more I got involved with the schools and, being around the athletic department, not just Sweeney, I mean, multiple. Half of them, the kids got to provide their own cleats now.
Or don't even have a ride to get to practice.
Yeah,
they didn't get to work out all summer because they didn't have a way to get there.
That's really what sparked it all. And then, I mean, just with timing and things like that, it just got accelerated. This did. But it was, we were saying, hey, is there any kids up here that want to go to camps that can be seen that just don't have the money to go? And we would get a list of those kids or whatever, and then we would quietly donate the money so they could go. Or we, just stuff like that. And it's really evolved.
Just personally. This was never with the house. This was just us personally.
And then
very sweet.
Try to fill a
need.
need.
Started. I mean, and within a year and a half, here we are. Now we have the opportunity to do it for several kids, and then now we don't have to go and research the kid who it is. Hopefully that's the plan. Them come to us.
Yeah, and that kind of like peeves me a little bit. Like our public tax money should be
It's horrible.
No Child Left Behind, all that
It's
bull
horrible.
crap. It's supposed to be helping the kids and the ones that are less fortunate to be able to do school supplies and.
Yeah, I agree.
But it takes people like you, like y'all, to
Because we
actually make a
always
difference.
had that kind of like ever since we first got married, we always wanted to do something to like help kids that don't have, we grew up in two totally different backgrounds,
Very much.
like opposite ends, big time.
Spoiled. I was spoiled too, but just spoiled. No.
And then still spoiled.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to keep things consistent, And so, we were raised different, completely different. And, he had always said, like, I want to do something to be able to, like, help kids. And, when our businesses got successful and we were able to financially, provide in places that we would not have been able to before, we were just kind of doing that as we could and asking, but we didn't really know. We were just like, hey, is there somebody that needs something? And we didn't have guidance for it. It was just like when it would present itself, we would try to take care of it. And so it was kind of a God thing how everything like Jaworski Lane just lands on our back porch on a Sunday evening. And, everything just really developed in it like very organically, like nothing, it just fell together. And then we were like, okay, well, I think this is it. And so this is a passion project for us. And we'd have people ask us like, well, it's a business. I was like, we're not getting paid. Like everything goes back into the house. Like this is our passion, not a way for us to make an income. Like we've taken care of that.
Yeah.
That's over there. We want to be able to just help these kids roll what we can back into it by helping more kids. And hopefully it just snowballs and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And we help more and more kids. And, it's just something that we're real passionate about. I mean, we have a lot of kids, so we should be passionate about kids. Yeah, there's 4.
Wow.
That's great. Like I'm motivated. I love it. Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. We love your story, and maybe we'll do like a live little event or something over there.
Yeah.
We'd love to help support.
Yeah.
Like
We'd
whatever
love
we
y'all
can
to
do
be
to
there.
help. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, how can people follow y'all's story until y'all open up the place? Is there some way that they can follow y'all, maybe on your personal Instagram or?
Yeah.
Facebook. You have a Facebook page for the house.
Yeah, we've got the Facebook page for the house, and then both of us personally are on Facebook, just Dusty Hopkins and Brittanie Hopkins. And then soon Lena Hope will be on there, but that'll all be linked through the house's Facebook. So I would say that would be the best place to find the up-to-date information would be the house. And it's just the house where athletes are built.
Awesome.
So,
We had a great time. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
yeah, thank y'all. Thanks for having us.
Bye.